The medieval Inquisition, a phrase that still echoes fear and secrecy even today. In the 13th century, the Catholic Church created the Inquisition to root out heresy. Specifically, it aimed to stamp out those who did not believe in the Church's teachings, like certain monks and preachers who were spreading dangerous ideas. At its start, the Inquisition's goal was to bring these so-called heretics back into the Church's loving embrace. But once inside, they found it hard to leave. Trials were held across Europe, but the most famous took place in Spain. There, people from all walks of life were accused, from clergy to commoners, even doctors and lawyers. Many were tortured, some put to death. The punishments varied, but usually a heretic would be publicly put to death by burning, or in less severe cases, they might be given a lighter sentence such as exile or performing a penance, like carrying a heavy stone around their neck. But why? Why were so many people accused of heresy? Well, during the Middle Ages, literacy was low and people relied on the church for education. In turn, the church had a lot of power. That power, combined with a booming population and a series of bad crops, led to unrest. People started questioning the church's teachings, and that made them targets. In 1252, Pope Innocent IV created a special court to deal with these doubters. It was called the Holy Office, or in Latin, the Inquisitor. Over time, this name was shortened to the Inquisition. These courts were staffed by regular clergy, gave the church the power to try people in civil matters like heresy, and it didn't take long for that power to be abused. By the 14th century, the Inquisition was a tool for those in power to control the populace. In short, it was used to keep people in line. Those who didn't follow the rules, or who spoke out against the church or the government, were often accused of heresy. The Inquisition became a way to silence people and keep them from questioning authority. And what was the punishment for such a crime? Usually, it was the death penalty. People were put to death in horrific ways, like being burned at the stake or having their limbs torn off. And if you weren't executed, you might be tortured to make you confess to crimes you didn't commit. The Spanish Inquisition is one of the most well-known examples of this abuse of power. It began in 1478, when King Ferdinand and Isabella invited the Dominican friar, Thomas Corcamada, to create a holy office in Spain to root out Jews and Muslims who were secretly living among the Christian population. By 1483, Torquemada had established a tribunal that operated like a court, complete with inquisitors, lawyers, and judges. This tribunal would go on to accuse over 2,000 people of heresy, torture many, and execute hundreds. So what happened to all of these people? Well, some were burned at the stake, others had their property confiscated, and some were even put to work as slaves. It wasn't until the 19th century that the Catholic Church finally abolished the Inquisition, but its legacy of fear and secrecy lives on.